Hey everyone, it's Dusty Gogoat. Welcome to the first episode of Fan Canon, the show where I respond to your headcanon. Leave all of your Pokemon theories, opinions, wishes, and expectations down in the comments below to be featured in the next episode. Alright, let's start this thing off right. As you mentioned, all current Eeveelutions, except for Sylveon, are from types that were once classified as special types. Thus, the only special type missing is Dragon. I think it was a missed opportunity in Generation 6 for Game Freak to release a Dragon Evolution as a counterpart to Sylveon. Furthermore, new Eeveelutions were added in every generation. 2 in Gen 9, 2 in Gen 4, and 1 in Gen 6, leading people to conjecture that there would be an evolution, an Eevee Evolution for Generation 8. Thus, I am not as hopeful now for a new Eeveelution in Gen 9. I think it's very likely that if we do get another Eeveelution in Generation 9, it's going to be Dragon type. That feels too perfect. It feels like they would just be... It's Dragon type. Give us a Dragon type Eeveelution. Like we've wanted it since the dawn of the franchise. It's too perfect. Maybe we get another pair of Eevee Evolutions, both of which interact with the Fairy type. So maybe we could be looking at a Dragon type Eeveelution and then a Steel type Eeveelution. I think both of those are very cool. Both of those match up really well. I'm thinking of a warrior covered in steel and the fairy tale slaying the dragon. It all makes perfect sense. And I'll be honest, I've never really subscribed to the whole every even generation. I've never really subscribed to that theory. I mean, the first Eeveelutions were in Gen 1. So you have Gen 1, 2, 4, 6. That's it. Like, to me, that's not a pattern. I guess it depends on how you look at it. I think for sure a new Eeveelution is coming. A lot of people tell me all the time, they say, we don't need a new Eeveelution. And I'm like, we don't need any of this. This is just all for fun. We don't need any of this. So give it to me. I still think Fuecoco is going to be dual poison, dark, or psychic type. It reminds me of the biblical tale of the Eden snake and Eve taking the Snivy way. They're saying that Fuecoco is going to lose all of its limbs. I could totally see that. Absolutely could totally see that. I think I would prefer Fuecoco to evolve into maybe not quite a dragon. I want it to look like a croc. I want it to look like Feraligatr. I want it to be bulky. I do not want Inteleon. I do not want... I like Sceptile, but I don't even want Sceptile. I want it to be this big, burly thing. And the Riddler says, you know, it's probably going to be fire and ghost type. And I would be down for that. I think fire ghost type complements well. And then you could play onto that whole, like, the whole pepper dragon. It's essentially a ghost pepper. How cool would that be? Quaxly could take flying, fighting, steel, or dark as a dual type to the original water type. I think all of those are great. I feel it will become a diver with some kind of spear design, as the blue-footed booby likes to fight and dive, and the female diving deeper than males. It could take inspiration from Enki, so could be mischievous. I like the, I mean, if this is true, I like the contrast between the two gender variants. What's probably going to happen with the starter Pokemon is that whatever one is cooler, that is what's going to take inspiration from. I think the only... I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only starter Pokemon to actually have a gender variation is actually Venusaur, and all it is the little seed on top of its flower. That's literally all it is. I think Quaxly is definitely based on the blue-footed booby, and I think it would be very cool if it got a steel type. I think of pirates, right? I think of it holding or maybe having razor sharp, like hand feathers, and then those are the swords that it uses to fight. Again, the Riddler suggests that Quaxly is going to evolve to be a water, I think it's a water fighting type, if I'm not mistaken, and that is cool. I wouldn't mind that. I think water fighting is a cool type. It's only been used by Keldeo and I guess Urshifu and Poliwrath is the very first one, but none of them really do it right. Just seeing the word dive with a starter and then like the idea of ride Pokemon, we have not been able to dive underwater since Gen 5, I guess since Gen 6 with the remakes of Gen 3. So in Hoenn and Unova you can dive, and the only real place that you can actually dive where there's like actually interactable things is Hoenn. Would love to see a return to form. If you're still watching this video, there's a button right below my face. You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Stick around. Sprigatito could take dark, ghost, fighting, or psychic type dual type to the grass type, and it could take inspiration from the Seshat and the Egyptian goddess of knowledge. In mystic arts, she wears a leopard dress, so we could have it evolve into a leopard, and then a saber tooth. The flower could be literally anything. Love the idea of getting a saber-tooth tiger out of this thing. You know, a lot of people are rightfully and dangerously expecting that this thing is going to evolve to stand on 2 legs, and it's disappointing, but you gotta be ready for it. I think I want to be bold and say it's gonna remain on all 4 and turn into this like really powerful large cat. I don't think that's gonna happen. I have 0 expectations when it comes to Sprigatito. I'll tell you that, 0 expectations. And just to round this off, the Riddler has also stated that Sprigatito is going to be grass and dark type. Not a very interesting type. We've seen it many times before. It's got a lot of 4 times weaknesses. This next comment is in reference to the formation, the structure of a Generation 9 gym system. Are we going to see 8 gyms? Are we going to see 16 gyms? Let's take a look. I think being able to pick any of the 18 gyms to fulfill your 8 badges is an interesting idea. But imagine if they were divided up from the style of major and minor leagues. You could have junior league gyms, minor league gyms, and major league gyms. That would be 6 gyms spread out all throughout the map, and because of how it would be divided up, they could force us more to explore along the map by making us obtain 2 junior badges, 3 minor league badges, and 3 major league badges. I think that would be technically easier to develop, as you wouldn't have to create as many teams for them to use, and it would be easier to scale the difficulty of surrounding things, like any sort of quest or terrain challenge puzzle. 100% Gen 9 needs to shake up the system. They did it in Gen 7, and I do think Gen 9 is going to take a lot of inspiration from Generation 7. I think a lot of the concepts from Generation 7, that team is now working on the Gen 9 games. Like, you can't carry over good features into the game that is already in development and scheduled for the following year, right? These concepts have been in the works, and I'm really hoping that if gyms do return, that they are in a much better place. It's common knowledge that a Pokemon game is going to challenge players to get 8 badges, but even in Generation 1, there was actually more than 8 gyms. I love this comment. I love this concept. This is something I've been talking about on the channel for a while now. I think the only thing I do disagree with are the 3 different leagues. I think really all we need is a standard. I think we need a pool of anything more than 8 gyms, and complemented with an open world game where you can pick and choose which 8 of the whatever, right? If there's 16, then you can only pick 8. If there's 10, you can only pick 8. Whatever the combination is, if it's an open world game and you can truly go to these gyms in any order, I think it will allow for players to relive Pokemon journeys an infinite amount of times. I feel like this is something that modern Pokemon games are kind of missing out on. I don't know how deep I want to get into it right now, but there's a lot of features, there's a lot of things that you were able to do in the older games that don't exist currently, especially in Generation 8 with the limitations of the Pokedexes. And I think a feature like this maybe isn't easy to implement, but would be very crucial and I think significant for these Pokemon games going forward. For Heart Gold, Soul Silver specifically, if they're going to go at it again this time with a remake, I want a full remake in the style of Generation 9 or Legends Arceus, ideally with voice acting, as that would be as close to the perfect Pokemon game I can think of. Imagine it. 2 open world regions to explore, 16 gyms, blue, red, Lance, etc. Hey, there's that multiple gyms coming back. People want to jump to the conclusion that Generation 5 is ready to be remade next, and I totally disagree. I think Johto is the next game in line to get a remake. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it's not happening this year, right? We didn't get it this year. It will happen in Generation 9. That's going to be the remake game. I think that it's also going to be disguised as a Kanto remake. You essentially go through Kanto. Heart Gold, Soul Silver by many is believed to be considered one of the best Pokemon remakes, but also one of the best Pokemon games. And it's this reason that I think makes this a little bit tricky. We got remakes. This is a little tricky because it's like, what do? You don't remake Gold, Silver, Crystal, because those games were encapsulated and summed up and basically made the best versions of themselves in the Heart Gold Soul Silver game. But what do? Remake Heart Gold Soul Silver? That seems a little silly, doesn't it? If you take a look at how much money BDSP has made the Pokemon Company, logic would suggest that Heart Gold Soul Silver being on the same engine as the original Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, it would make sense that Ilka would, take a swing at remaking these faithfully. And that's a scary idea for a lot of people. I think part of me wouldn't even mind that. It's just a glorified port of the games. And how else would you port a DS game onto the Switch, right? It's a game with 2 screens. How do you put that on a system with 1 screen? So there's 3 possibilities for a new Johto game. 1, they port it, which at this point, I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. It's just a little confusing considering, how different the DS and the Switch are. Option 2 is you faithfully remake it with either a third party or a different art style, whatever it might be. It's essentially just going to be a glorified port again. You're going to have the same exact game just on the Nintendo Switch. And the third option is essentially just an actual game, an actual remake in the Generation 9 engine. I guess there's actually 4 options. The fourth option is, they give us a port, they give us a faithful remake, and then actually we get Pokemon Legends Celebi or whatever. We get Pokemon Legends Johto. That would be super exciting. There's already fan projects. I feel like Pokemon Legends Arceus has recaptured so many fans and re-inspired so many people of the magic of these games, right? Like it's felt like these games have gotten a little stale, and Legends Arceus really kicked things into gear, broke, it like made us recontextualize how we look at the world. Have you ever thought, just for example, have you ever seen a Gyarados fly? Because that was not a real thing, even though it was flying type. Legends Arceus has made that reality and part of the canon, so that's very cool. I think whatever they do with Johto next, I want to say that they can't mess it up because Johto is a very, it's a region that's close to my heart, but I also think they have a core game, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It's like if you stay in line and just give us that again, it can't be bad, but don't put it past them. I think KALOS desperately needs some love and attention. Heart Gold, Soul Silver are the most popular games, and I think updating them may be a risk. Let's Go Johto, I think, should be next for Johto. Also, BDSP aren't as popular as you are making out. They were too faithful, and the style wasn't for everyone. Hoenn had Oras a few years ago. Black and White 2 are improved Black and White, as is Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for Sun and Moon. The only region to never have a remake or a third version is KALOS, outside of the Galar region in the current gen. A third version feels needed because there are so many places closed off. They should finally finish off Gen 6 and give KALOS the focus it needs to make Generation 6's region and story more popular. I agree and disagree with a lot of things here. I think that a lot of the statements that he makes are really just from his own perspective. I actually, performance-wise, Heart Gold Soul Silver is one of the worst performing games, and that's what scares me and makes me think that they're not actually going to just give us a good remake like Heart Gold Soul Silver, because it didn't perform as well as, let's say, BDSP, which is the best-selling Pokemon remake game, which is it stinks to see that, but it's true, and that's what I'm saying. BDSP performed well. I don't think it's like a flip-flop. I don't think the fans, I don't think the core audience adores it, but it performed very well. And the opposite is true for Heart Gold Soul Silver, where it's a cult classic. It's within the community, it's considered to be the best game, but it did not perform that well. But to the main point, I do think KALOS is in desperate need of something, right? Something needs to happen, and I think what really could happen, because of the proximity between Spain and France in our real life world, to think that we're getting a game based on Spain after having a region based on France, I think there's going to be a lot of cross-pollination. Part of me gets really excited because they keep throwing around the word open world, and I think when people, it's like, what is the standard? What is the standard Pokemon game for open world? It would be maybe Legends Arceus, but as far as a scope of a region, right? I feel like a lot of people would say Heart Gold Soul Silver. The last time we had 2 regions so close together was in Heart Gold Soul Silver. That was a game where you play through one region and finish off in another region. Who's to say they couldn't do that again? This Scarlet and Violet are poised as the games to almost redefine, or this feels like a reboot of a game, right? This is The Force Awakens, right? I really don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that we won't be able to play through this new Gen 9 region and then revisit KALOS in some way, and that should be plenty of content for KALOS fans to really just sink their teeth into. I don't want to rule it out. I'm not expecting it, I'll tell you that much. I'm not expecting that, but I do think it could be a very magical thing, and I don't want to count anything out. We got Pokemon Legends Arceus. That seemed like something that's something that we could never imagine, and if we never get another Legends game ever again, I think I'll still be happy with what we got. It's a treasure. It's very special. I'm hoping we get a little bit of that magic in Generation 9. Thank you to all the channel members who support this channel. If you want to be featured in the next Fan Canon, leave your comments below. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck hunting.